Joining me now is Heidi Thomas, who accused Cosby of sexual assault and testified in Cosby's retrial, and Kristen Gibbons-Fedden, a former special prosecutor in the Cosby case and an MSNBC legal analyst. And Ms. Thomas, I have to start with you to get your reaction to this pretty shocking development today.
Yeah, it's a gut punch.
Was there any warning given to you and any of the other victims? Did you get a warning that this was coming? Did you have any idea?
None. In fact, we were contacted just within the last 2 to 3 weeks by the parole board. He was refused, and the Victims Advocate Office reaches out to us ahead of time to let us know that he's up for parole. He has never, as he's made very clear, he never has admitted that he did anything wrong, and he has not taken part in any kind of assault program, sexual offender program. And of course, his lawyers started yelling appeal the minute the guilty verdict came through. Of course, that happens.
Can you talk about what happened to you?
Sure. What part do you want to know?
Just how did you meet Bill Cosby? You don't have to go through every detail, but what happened to you that you feel he should be prosecuted for in your case?
Well, I mean, I can certainly tell you I was 24 years old. I was sent to him by my agent in Denver. My airline ticket, my hotel room were all paid for by the agency to go to him in Reno, Nevada, where he was playing. And supposedly I was going to be getting acting coaching. And this was arranged through the agent, supposedly to promising young talent. I was not taken to the hotel where I had a reservation. I was taken to a ranch house outside of Reno somewhere. This was before cell phones. I had no idea where I was. And I was sexually assaulted and raped at that ranch house. At the time, not being able to remember 4 days of being there, I, in retrospect, figured it was my own brain and my own psyche trying to protect me. So I didn't try to remember anything. It was 30 years of recognizing that if I had gone forward, I would have been let go from my agency. My career would have been over. So going forward was pointless. No one was going to believe me, and I would have lost my job. And 30 years later, I started hearing people, these women saying they were drugged. And I thought, oh, I bet that's what happened. Yeah. So that's kind of my story. I think, the fact is this was Andrea Constand's case. And the fact that there were 60 of us that could back her up. Yeah. It floors me.
It's unimaginable. I need to get Kristen Gibbons-Fedden in because I have to know how this went wrong. Like, how can it be that this prosecutor who the weirdest, I mean, it's weird enough that he was Trump's lawyer to an impeachment, somebody who also has been serially accused of sexual, everything from sexual harassment to all the way up to a case of rape by E. Jean Carroll. How did this go wrong?
Great question.
Honestly, Joy, I totally respect our esteemed bench here in Pennsylvania. But when you say, how did this go wrong? I want to say that my version of the facts, and as well as Kevin Steele's, and the way our prosecutorial team worked, is we don't believe that there was any statement or any promise made to begin with. And we proved that at the early stages of the pretrial hearing. The Common Pleas Court found that there was no agreement, no promise made. And in addition to that, Joy, the Superior Court of Pennsylvania also agreed with our finding. The other thing I wanted to highlight is that not only do we believe that there was no prosecutorial agreement made, but generally, if one is to be made, Number one, you see these in homicides to allow one witness testify against another. That's not what Bruce Castor is alleging happened here. He's alleging that he made a promise not to prosecute someone so that they can go the civil realm. I have never heard of that ever happening in the entirety of my legal career. Notwithstanding that, Cosby was represented by competent counsel. Don't you think that that would have been put in writing and approved by the court as it is in the normal course? And then throw in the fact, Joy, that shortly after he allegedly made this promise, he issues out a press release, which I understand and respect the judge's findings on what this press release meant to them. But he then issues out a press release where he makes very clear in that press release, I will revisit the decision if the need arises.
Right.
So we don't believe that we made any misstep. I respectfully disagree with the justice's opinion here today. But I think, as Heidi pointed out, and it's so great to see you, Heidi, you are amazing. Heidi was one of the courageous women who testified in the second trial. But as Heidi pointed out, that jury, this may take away the conviction, but it will never take away those 3 words that 12 of Cosby's peers and 12 of Andrea's peers said to Cosby that day in court. They said guilty, guilty, guilty. And while the guilty no longer stands, the factual finding behind it still does. That factual finding is that when he administered those intoxicants to Andrea Constand, rendering her incapable of consent, he then sexually assaulted her. And that will be forever known by this country.
Heidi, I'm going to give you the last word here. What do you think should happen now? I mean, he's already on the radio doing an interview. What do you think happens now?
Come true. He's an attention grabber, which is hilarious because, everybody said that's what all of us are. We want our 15 minutes of fame. All he wants is to be back in the spotlight. So we've played right into everything he wants. I think this is back years. I don't imagine anybody's going to want to go through this kind of pain, this kind of work. The work by the way, we call the district attorney's office the dream team. So thank you, sweetie. It's great to see you too. But I can't imagine anybody wanting to go through all of this if it can be turned over when there's absolutely no legal proof there was ever an agreement.
Yeah.
What the heck did we all do? We were sucker punched.